New videos every day.
Hi, I'm Dr. Vincent Bellonzi. Are you overstressed? Probably. Most people I ask say yes. But how do you assess that? What I usually look at is how people are sleeping, how their day goes. We can test things like cortisol. We can test other neurotransmitters. You can look at hormone levels. But stress can definitely push the body out of balance. Now, on the other hand, most of the time, I find that what people want to blame on stress is really the fact that they're not taking care of themselves. Their body's not functioning, so they say they've got too much stress. I think it's more like stress makes the symptoms appear. If you don't have a headache, somebody comes in and gives you a hard time and then you get a headache, you want to blame it on the stress. The truth is, you had a headache brewing right under the surface, and the stress brought it out. In fact, if we talk about stress, we have to talk about not just psychological stress, but all the physical stresses. So if we add all the stresses on your body up, that's where we find the solution. You need to eliminate those things as much as possible. Poor diet is a stress. If you don't get certain nutrients, it stresses the body. Anything that pushes the body out of normal function is a stress. So nutrition is very important to counteract stress. Your level of activity, again, being active helps you to alleviate stress. You don't want to sit there and just stew in your juices. That's a pretty good term if you think about it. If you simply sit and get stressed out, your body's producing all these stress hormones and other chemicals, and you don't get up and move around, you're going to destroy your own body. Your body's ready for fight or flight. Your body's telling you it's ready for a response. You told it to get ready. And it may just be that you're upset at something. But your body doesn't know any different. It just knows it needs to be ready. So hormones change. A lot of other things change. You stop burning fat. You get ready to burn whatever carb you have, whatever muscle you have. You become destructive if you don't use that. So we need some ways to deal with stress. When I talk about stress again, I'm not just talking about having a more relaxed environment. That's part of it. You can do simple meditations. You don't have to climb up and see the Dalai Lama. You can simply sit in a chair and do some visualization. There are ways to deactivate the effects of stress. You can do some breathing. In India, they've studied breathing very extensively and found that it's very curative for a lot of conditions, including stress. But we have to talk about all the stressors that hit your body. We have to consider the heavy metals you're exposed to. We have to consider all the chemicals you're exposed to. They are a stress. Look at any chemicals that you're exposed to during the day. They are a stress on your body. Cleaning chemicals, chemicals at your work, anything that is chemistry that's foreign to the body. All the organic pollutants that come from petroleum and everything else. I'm not saying never use them, but maybe you should take more precautions. Then there are all the viruses you're exposed to, the bacteria that you carry, the viruses, again, that create a viral load, the parasites. You add all these stresses and your body becomes overburdened. So there's a point where you go from having little or no symptoms to a lot of symptoms. It's a threshold. It's a point where the body has more than it can handle. The burden's too big, you start exhibiting symptoms. You reduce the burden and the symptoms go away. So again, look at as many factors of stress that you can do something about as possible. The more factors you address, the better off you're going to be. So I want you to deal with the stresses in your life. And if you assess them, most of them can be dealt with, reduced in some way. Don't put yourself in situations where you're going to be stressed. Learn how to react to stress better. But clean up your environment too. It's going to make a difference. It makes a difference every time. So when we talk about stress, again, we talk about anything that pushes the body out of its balance, out of its function. You want it to function in balance. You want things in the right ratio. You want one thing to be able to counteract another. Your body works a lot with negative feedback. It works a lot with taking readings on one thing and responding with another. Whether we're talking about hormones or neurotransmitters or any way that your body operates, it's got a way to ramp things up. It's got a way to bring them back down. You need both. You need to be able to respond to something, and you need to be able to shut that response down, or at least slow it down. So take an assessment. Look at all the stresses in your life. Yes, we have to consider driving. We have to consider road rage. We have to consider relationships. We have to consider the stresses and the pressures of your work or job. We have to consider the pressures of daily life. It's important. But you also have to consider all of the other things in the environment that put a stress on the body. Reduce everything you can, you're going to function better. Function better, you're going to feel better. That's where the answer lies. I don't want to sit here and list all the drugs people take in order to alleviate stress. Because think about it. It really is adding another stress. You may not be aware of it because the drug has pretty much dulled your senses. But the drug in itself is another chemical, another stress that's going to cause a problem. That's one of the ways that people start on one medication and end up on several. One medication upsets sleep, so they take another medication to sleep, and then that medication causes something else. You get the picture. So when I want to talk about stress, I need to talk about total stress. That's where you're going to find your solutions. Again, there are ways to handle the emotional stress. You may think that it's too much for you. But what you want to create is a reserve. I want you to do everything you can to help your body be healthy. What we're doing is building a reserve. Dr. Jeffrey Bland, somebody that I have a lot of respect for, coined the term organ reserve. His idea, and what I'm presenting to you as well, is that if you have an organ reserve, if you have something in reserve, your body can handle stress without leading to symptoms. So in other words, if you're healthy, if you're taking some care on how your body functions, simple things, sleep, eating breakfast, making good choices in your foods, your body's functioning better. Now I put you in a situation that's stressful and your body handles it. You don't have any symptoms. You don't get the headache. You don't see spots. You don't go blind. Whatever happens to you when you're stressed, your body just takes it in stride. That's what health will bring you. The ability to deal with the stress. So take another assessment. Look at all the stresses in your life. Start building a reserve so that when there is a stress, it doesn't just throw you off your feet. If you have any questions, seek out a professional. Find a clinical nutritionist to help you with nutrition. Find a personal trainer to help you learn how to properly gain some activity. If you know how to do these things, then get on it. If you need some help, there are people out there that can help. But it's not in a pill. That's something that's just on TV. It's in what you do for yourself. So learn about building a reserve and build one. You'll be better for it. This is Dr. Vince Bellonzi. Have a good evening.